Right, this is a great book. This is a good book review. I love this book. The Herbal Lore of Wise Women and Wortcunners, The Healing Power of Medicinal Plants. Now, what I find is that people who are interested in herbalism, herbal medicine, natural medicine, that sort of thing, they'll get to a certain extent and they'll buy a lot of herbals, which basically just give you a plant and then it's so say uses of that plant, and then eventually they'll move on to the actual manufacturing. How do you make a tincture? How do you make a tea? All of that sort of things. And very often in Western magical healing and Western medicine, medicine is divorced. So you have the medicine and then you have the magic, and those two are divorced. In things like Ayurvedic medicine that you get in India, places like that, or traditional Chinese medicine, you have the magic and the physical world and the scientific medicine combined together in a great way. In the West, we seem to have forgotten that. Not everyone's forgotten that, but most books either cater too much towards the magical or too much towards the scientific. This book is an attempt to combine the two together in a Western way. Now, it does give you a little bit of history and things like that about, Egypt, Arabic medicine, the Renaissance. It does give you a history lesson, but it's not too in-depth. It doesn't bore you. It's got enough information that you learn a little bit, but also that it keeps you interested, which is another great thing about this kind of a book. Because, you can get a book like this with not that many pictures in it. And if you're anything like me, if it's got a paragraph a page and uses complex language, it's just too much. This is written in a way that most people can understand, but it has the core of it coming from someone that really knows, someone that's really used this system. And it does make an attempt to marry up magic with medicine for the Western mind. So although it does go into a little bit of detail about other systems of medicine, if you master this, or you master any form of magical medicine, to be honest with you, whether it be traditional Chinese medicine, you'll be able to see commonalities between Chinese traditional medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. If you're of the Western mind and you've grown up with witchcraft to a certain extent, or in Europe with a lot of European influence, history, that kind of thing, this book will probably be a good one for you if you're going into the art of healing. I really cannot recommend it enough. I've got so many books on healing and stuff like that, but this is one of those rare finds. In terms of where I found it, it's quite an interesting one actually. So I was walking down a village high street that's not too far away from where I live, and I just felt compelled to go in this charity shop, Oxfam charity shop, which just specialises in books. So I went in and had a little look around, and I found two books that day and bought them. One is the Giant Spell book, which I think is well over 100 years old, which is often behind me in some of my videos. I should have shot that video. I should have shot myself in that room today, actually. I'll make a video about that at some point. And then the other one was this one, and this was in the gardening section, because when you've got a charity shop and used second-hand books, when it comes to magic and stuff like that, they do a quick skim read of it. It'll either go in the self-help section, or the religious section, or the plant section and gardening section. This was in the gardening section, and I was like, I've never seen this book before. It doesn't have a particularly exciting cover. I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but let's be fair, I often do. And it was just a great find because I was just not expecting to find it. And it's one of those things which I have to put it to the author. Who was the author? Wolf D. Storl, author of Healing Lyme Disease Naturally. That they've really done a fairly good attempt, I think, at trying to present modern medicine and modern herbalism and marrying that up with a system that the old wise woman or cunning man, that sort of thing, would use, the old witch. You can imagine them teaching their students. It tells you about when to pick plants. It goes into the details of what parts of the plants are used for what. But also it goes into a little bit of the lore of, well, why do you put a salt circle around this plant that you're going to pick at a specific time? What's up with that? A lot of these kind of Llewellyn books and stuff will say, well, you should get this plant and harvest it at a particular moon phase and sprinkle salt around it, or that sort of thing. Well, this kind of explains the reasons why, you know? Not a lot of books do that. And I think that just because it's such a boring looking book, unless you are up with the fact that wise women and Wortcunners and that sort of thing, and you know the history of cunning folk, you'd probably skip over this book and probably go for the one with the pentagram on it. You know, it's just, this is a great book. I don't know how you'd be able to get it. As far as I'm aware, you can probably get it online, but it is literally called The Herbal Lore of Wise Women and Wortcunners, The Healing Power of Medicinal Plants. If you're into healing, magic, and herbalism, ideally both, then I do suggest that you get it.